Transition Tuesday. I'm Jane. This is Joe. Where to? We're talking about the panic that usually sets in for parents of high school students who are realizing that they are running out of school. Their children are going to be moving on to the next phase of their life, and it can be very intimidating. As in my job as a parent mentor for our local school district, I usually get a lot of calls at this time of the year from parents who are saying, gosh, I'm just not prepared for this. What do we do? Where do we go? So it's very hard to answer those questions because it's so individualized for each student. But I thought it might be good to give everybody a little overview of what after high school options there are for any child who is a special ed kid. The first one, college or tech school. Post-secondary plan for continuing a person's education, just like anyone else, to get a good job, to have a career, to expand one's personal knowledge. One thing parents can do while you're in your panic mode, make a list of things like this. If your child is college bound and they know what schools they want to go to, check into the disability services of those schools. A lot of times students don't want to disclose that they had an IEP when they were in high school. But the disability services at a post-secondary education facility like a college or tech school are there to give some students some supports, like if they need help with note-taking or if they just need a support individual like a peer to help them with studying, or if they need some testing accommodations. You know, it varies from school to school. You don't get an IEP when you go to college or tech school. So those disability services, especially for a freshman transitioning in, are good things to look into. Like, you may really like the school, but the disability resources maybe don't seem that great. That might be a deal breaker. The other option that is an educational option is a IPSE, or Inclusive Post-Secondary Education Program. Lots of schools in Georgia have those. So it's a non-degree program, but you have the college experience, and life skills are often taught, you know, in combination with that. This is for students who maybe don't have the Carnegie credits coming out of high school to attend a college. They've been in the low incidence classroom, but they are pretty self-sufficient. They could get to different classes. They could live with supports on campus, and the college experience would be great for them. So it's something to look into as well. And I can share all these resources with you. If you message me, or, you know, I have stuff in my blog post that I can share about this. Another option is vocational rehabilitation services. So that is working, learning to work, assessments of skills, work skills, and those programs there is a cost share. It's based on family income, but many of the resources are free. Job training, and also if you get SSI disability benefits, they have a program to help you figure out how much you can earn without having an impact on those benefits, because you know there's income limits. So they can help you with all of that. Day programs or residential services. Now, residential services are pretty hard to come by. Day programs are a little bit more available. And if your child is not going to go to a post-secondary education program, maybe has been a voc rehab client and haven't been able to figure out a job situation, a day program is a good option because it's socialization. It's similar to a school program, so your person has things to do during the day, and learning experiences, supported employment, lots of community access kinds of things with a day program. But let me tell you, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got was, when your child is in high school, invite the representatives from any of those things we talked about to an IEP meeting. The reason for this is so that they get to know your person and you get to know their program. We did this for Joe, I think it was his sophomore year in high school. We invited a day program representative to Joe's IEP meeting, and we discovered that because of his medical needs, he would not qualify for that program. So learning that when he was still in high school made a huge difference in our transition planning going forward, and also in my knowledge of programs and services. So I really, really recommend that you think about the agencies that your child might qualify for and invite them, or ask the teacher to send an invite to a representative from those agencies. Voc Rehab can come to a meeting. I'm not sure about colleges, but a disability resource person might be willing to pop into an IEP meeting, but VR definitely does, and day program folks definitely do. I think it's a really important piece of the post-secondary transition plan. And then the other thing, living at home with direct support. In other words, you have a person, so if you don't qualify for a day program like Joe, he can live at home with direct support, and that means that someone comes in and does, you know, things with him in the community, helps him practice his daily living skills, and Joe is not completely dependent on family all day long, every day, 24/7. So it's a good independent skill. Joe, your direct support person is Rebecca. Do you like it when Rebecca comes? Do you like it when Rebecca comes? Yes? Touch my hand. Do you like when Rebecca comes? Yes. Is Rebecca important to you? Is Rebecca important to you? Yes? Yes. And then the other option is living at home with family support. Now, if you're on the waiting list for an hour comp waiver and your child does not qualify for day programs, Voc Rehab was unsuccessful in connecting employment services with your child, post-secondary education program is out, These are usually people who have low function, intellectual disabilities, medical issues. That is, of course, can be a wonderful quality of life, but I really feel like transition planning, if that's the plan, then you've made the plan. So it doesn't feel like you have no control over the future. If you include your child in that, Joe, when he was in middle school, he used to say he didn't want to live at home. The closer he got to the end of school, which he's getting closer at age 19, the closer he gets to the end of school, you know, all of us have a little bit of insecurity when we are transitioning out of high school and going on to college or going on to the next thing. Well, Joe has that too. And typically kids who have been sheltered in a low incidence or self-contained classroom feel a lot of anxiety about what's going to happen, because it's like, oh, now you're 18 and you're adult, and oh, now you're done with school. So your quality of life living at home with family support can be a wonderful thing, but I think it's more wonderful if it's what you have planned rather than what you're stuck with. I know that sounds horrible to say, but that's how it feels if you don't have a transition plan. And so that's what I try to help parents see when they get in that panic mode. You know, just make some plans. Make a couple of phone calls. Invite people to an IEP meeting. Go look at a program or a school or service. Go and, or well, with COVID, you may have to make a phone call and do a virtual tour, but all of those things are possible. It just helps you feel more in control, and who doesn't want a little more control in their life? So anyway, don't panic. Life can be great after high school. Transition Tuesday will be here for you. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, Transition Tuesdays with Jane and Joe, and we will see you next time.